Hi my stamping friends! Today on this week's video we are going to be making a desktop calendar box. Let's get started. You need 2 pieces of very vanilla cardstock, and we are going to cut the first one on the 11-inch side at 6 1/4, and then we're going to cut it again at 6 1/4, and that will give you the square. Then we're going to take it and score it at 1 inch on all 4 sides, and then the edges we're going to cut out, and I've done 3 of them to show you, and we're just going to cut straight down the score line. And then to make it easier to fold, I always cut at an angle and go back to the score line, just so that way when I go to fold it together there's no bumps and it folds easier for me. With the remaining piece of paper from our original cut, we're going to cut it again at 4 1/4, and we're going to use it at the 8 1/2 inches. And that piece we are going to score. This piece we're going to score at 4 1/4 and 6 3/8. And then we're going to fold it and set it aside. And then for our second piece of very vanilla, we are going to cut it on the 8 1/2 inch side, the shorter side, at 4 1/4. And this piece we are going to score at 1 inch, at 5 3/8, at 6 3/8, and at 10 3/4. So beginning with our box that we scored at 1 inch on all 4 sides, and then we cut the tabs, we're going to flip it over and adhere sticky tape, red sticky strip, to the corners. Now we're going to take a spare piece of designer series cardstock, and we're going to cut it at 4 1/8 by 7/8 of an inch. And you can use snail, but I prefer red sticky tape because it's stronger, and I have a 2-year-old who likes to play with my art projects. And then we're just going to line that up and put that straight across. And for the drawer front, right in the middle you would stick a chunky brad, like a flower brad or a button brad, anything that is large and chunky that you can grip to be able to pull this out of your box with. We're going to take our 4 1/4 by 11-inch piece, and we're going to flip it over, and on this very thin piece we're going to add red sticky tape. Our drawer is going to fit snugly into. We are going to take our 4 1/4 by 8 1/2 inch piece of paper. We are going to, on the first score section, we're going to put sticky strip. Our middle we're going to leave blank, and on the bottom we're going to put sticky strip on as well. And this piece is going to adhere directly to here. For the front, I have 4 1/4 by 2-inch piece of the Certainly Salary, and I use the border edge punch along it, and then I have a piece of 4 1/8 by 1 1/2 inch designer series cardstock. And then my calendar I used from a template, and I will have a link to her. She makes fabulous calendars, and it even has cutting directions, and so it is already put together with sticky strip even. That way when our easel is open, it will rest open on our top of our calendar. Then for my easel part, I have a piece of Certainly Salary cut at 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. Then I have a piece of chocolate chip, or actually Early Espresso, excuse me. I have a piece of Early Espresso cut at 4 1/8 by 3 3/4, and I used a scalp edge punch on both sides. And then I have a piece of designer series paper, just measured to fit in between. I used I used the Eat Chocolate stamp set for my main image, and I just cut that to fit the stamp, and I used a scrap piece of chocolate chip, and then I used the Thanks for Caring butterfly step, and I used my sponge dauber with the Pretty and Pink ink. The best way to ink up the sponge dauber instead of to dab it is actually to go across the ink pad. That way you pick up the best coverage, and then to tap lightly at first, and if you're not getting accurate color, tap a little bit darker. I found that works the best. Line up the card with the bottom, leaving space on both sides, and adhere it down, and it's only going to stick to the top half. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will have a complete tutorial as long as links to the tutorial for the original desktop calendar and to Catch Creations, who I used for the calendar template. And I used the 2012 blank month squares. It makes a 2.5-inch square calendar. If you have any questions, please visit my blog at boygearboydesigns.blogspot.com. Thank you and happy stamping.